Hello and welcome to another episode, and this week I'm going to be talking about vlogging, and I'm going to talk about 5 things I've learned in the first month I've been vlogging. So as you might know, I'm a landscape photographer. I've been doing that for a few years. When I started my YouTube channel about a month ago, that was essentially the first time I'd ever really sat in front of a camera. I'd certainly never done any video editing before, and so to say that there was 5 things I learned, well, there was a million things I've learned, but I'm just going to talk to you today about 5 sort of key areas which I've learned, very quickly, and I want to sort of share them to perhaps save you some of that pain. And we'll keep learning together, and perhaps in another few weeks I'll do another video of another 5 things I've learned in that time. So first, let's start with video, and just want to talk a little bit about my camera choice and things I learned with that camera in those first few vlogs. So as a photographer, I obviously wanted the highest quality video I could, or at least I could afford. And so, and I didn't really want to use an iPhone, so I looked around at different camera options, and I was conscious that I'd already got a quite heavy, large full-frame camera to carry around. So I wanted something smaller and lighter. There's the Fuji X-T3 and then Lumix Micro Four Thirds cameras. And at that point, the G90 or G95 from Lumix had just come out, and it was getting really good reviews. So that's the camera I decided to get. It's sort of significantly lighter than my Nikon. That came with a 12-60 kit lens, and whilst I thought that would be fine, a 12-60 is 24-120 equivalent focal length on a full frame camera, and I thought that would be okay. What I actually found was I needed a wider lens than that, and the lens that's on here at the moment is a 7-14. I guess that was the first thing I discovered, that I should have bought a wider angle lens to start with. And the second thing, on those early videos, a real sort of gotcha was the continuous autofocus. So I had this set to on, and that would be fine, I guess, if I wasn't videoing me. But what was happening was I was moving my hands around, and as I moved my hands around, the camera refocused on my hands, put my hands down, refocus on me. It's searching for focus the whole time, and in reality I'm not moving in or out of focus when I'm doing this. So I mean, that took me 3 or 4 vlogs to work out, but it's actually quite distracting to watch. So those are 2 sort of key video things that I learnt. Okay, so I just wanted to interrupt the hints and tips, just talk about something I'm really excited about. So I just put 2 photo tours on my website, and the first one is to East Anglia, so the coast in East Anglia, and the second one is to the Dorset coast. They happen in December for East Anglia and January for the Dorset one. A fantastic coastline in both locations. So Dorset, obviously famous for its Jurassic coast, and we'll visit some of those key locations, but some I guess less well-known locations. Practice lots of techniques. We'll have a small group, so plenty of time to learn. Stay in nice hotels, time in the evening to socialise post-process, and my goal for these trips is that you end up with a photo that you're happy and proud to hang on your wall. And to help you with that, after the trip, I'll arrange a one-to-one screen share photo editing meeting with you. Details of these trips are on my website, and my website's below, but it's johnseddon.co.uk. If you're interested or got questions, drop me a line either through my website or in the comments below, and you know, I look forward to seeing you on those trips. The second major part of vlogging is sound, and arguably sound is more important than video. I think, you know, we've all watched videos, and if the video is not so good, it's okay, but if the sound's really patchy, then it's really hard to concentrate. And I have to say that, you know, I found perhaps sound more difficult than video to get right. I bought a Rode microphone for my camera, which is sat on top of it now, which is great for environments like this, or when I'm sort of close to the camera outside. But I quite like to set up my camera a little further away, and what you'll find then is that, you know, the sound quality drops off very, very quickly. And if you've got a lot of noise, like at the coast with waves crashing, you know, it's just not usable. So I invested then in this is a Zoom H1N, again in the notes below. It's a digital sound recorder, and another Rode mic plugs into this, sits on here. Sound quality is excellent, but what you'll find is, you know, you've then got two sound sources and you need to put those together in post-production. So, you know, and it just takes extra time. And if you're doing a video, you know, once a week, that can easily stretch into, you know, hours of extra work you need to do to bring the audio sources together again. So, you know, eventually, and you've spent more money on these. So these are Rode wireless microphones. This goes on your lapel again, and this sits on top of the camera. What this means is I can have the camera, you know, 100 feet away from me, and the voice quality is still absolutely perfect. And you know, post-production, you know, don't have any of that need to bring in another audio source, so it just saves time. So again, I'm not saying go out and buy kit, but just think about these things, and maybe, you know, don't do what I do and get this and then buy this. If you're going to do vlogs, you know, every week, then maybe just go straight to something like this. So third thing is editing software, and certainly if you're on a Mac, you can use iMovie, and I used iMovie for my first few vlogs. And, you know, despite the fact that when I first opened it, I didn't have a clue how to use it. It's really quite easy to use, and I can put a link to some good YouTube videos in the notes as well. So, you know, I went from not having a clue how to use it to producing my first video in a day, and, you know, it really contains everything you need to put together a video, you know, that's good enough for YouTube. And I think on the PC you can get something called Lightworks. Again, I'll put something in the notes, which again is free software. I don't know whether it's good to use or not, but people recommend it. You can get Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro. Again, these things have features that will save you time. You know, you'll still be able to get great results with iMovie. So, you know, I think just have a think about how much video editing you're going to do, and weigh that up. But certainly, you know, start with iMovie and you know, get to the point where you know, that's costing you time before you look at a more expensive option. So fourth thing, so scripting. Some people, gift of the gab, you know, storytellers can just sit and talk to camera, no script, will be engaging from start to finish, won't forget the key points of what they're trying to talk about. I'm not one of those. So I do script my vlogs, and I'd recommend to start with, you script your vlogs as well. And what I'll do is I'll use something like PowerPoint, a presentation software, and I'll just put bullet points on it, the key things I want to cover in my vlog. And that just keeps me on track in terms of what I'm talking about. And you know, I try and keep my vlogs to around 10 minutes. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. But if you do that, you keep yourself on track. And you know, in terms of structure, so I would recommend you do a very quick intro. So say what you're going to say, then talk about the key parts of what you're going to talk about. So you know, my 5 key things to learn, and then to finish is just you know, perhaps ask people to subscribe. So please subscribe, and then just keep that short at the end as well. And last thing, you know, I've talked about loads of, I guess, mistakes I've made with kit and things I've learnt, but I'd say don't let any of that put you off. So you know, if you want to start, just start with whatever kit you've got. I read this book by Amy Schmittauer. You know, I'm not saying go and buy that either, but it's got something in there that I found really useful. I mean, she just said, your first few vlogs will, you know, you'll suck basically. So, you know, but if you don't put those vlogs on YouTube or share those vlogs, you know, you're never going to improve. You're never going to see what you're doing wrong. You're never going to get honest opinions from friends and family. And so, you know, whatever you do, just go and do it. Make a start. You know, and that's, I think, you know, the key thing I learned, because when I first switched this camera on, I literally sat and stared at it for, you know, 2-3 minutes without saying a word, because I just couldn't bring myself to talk to camera. But, you know, I feel I'm getting a little bit better every single one of these I do. And I, you know, really recommend, if you've got an interest in it, just go and try it and do it. Okay, so to finish, let's just recap then what we talked about. So firstly, I talked about video. Watch out for that continuous autofocus. Second, we talked about sound. So, you know, have a real think about what you think you're going to end up doing, and just try and pick the right set of microphones for your camera to start with, rather than making the mistakes that I did. Thirdly, we talked about editing software. And certainly I'd say start with iMovie. It's really, really good, and will give you a great start and a great understanding of how to do your editing. Fourth was scripting. Scripting, you know, I find it really useful. Bullet points, keeps you on track, keeps you on time. And lastly, well, you know, just go and do it. Just go out there and make a vlog. So that's this week's video, and if you liked it, please like, please subscribe. It really does help me. And if you're interested in my photo tours, then please have a look at my website. Again, the link's below, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.